Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studio, it's the Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create incredible relationships. I'm John Deloney, joined by Jade Warshaw. We are taking your calls on money and life and relationships, whatever you got going on. We're here to help. 888-825-5225. It's 888-825-5225. Jade, it's been a long time since we've been together on the show, man. How are you?
I know. I've been on vacation, John.
How's it been?
Great. I had to remember what my job is here.
Yeah.
I woke up, I was like, what do I do? Oh, yeah.
It was good times?
It was good times. We went to Fort Lauderdale Beach, got a lot of time in the sun. Ooh. You know what I'm talking about? Came home. It was the 4th of July. And might I add, can I say something controversial before we get to the phone lines?
Bring it on.
We didn't bring the kids.
Was it incredible?
Yes! Do not bring your kids on vacation. It's not a vacation when you bring your kids. It's a trip.
That's what I heard. I heard it's a trip when you take your kids.
It's a trip. You got to just, every once in a while, just do a little something with your significant other. You know what I'm saying?
Was it magic? I'm trying to imagine being in that space.
Okay, well, let me just break it down, because I know I made a couple of posts from the road, and I was telling them how, like, when we first got to the resort, man, it was so expensive. I got like 2 waters and like these little bottles of champagne, and he was like, that'll be $68. I was like, stop it. Stop it right now. I can't. So, I had to take the waters off and go with the Dasani.
Go with Dasani.
Yeah, man.
But overall, great trip.
Great trip.
Great trip.
Great trip.
I went camping with my kids.
Yeah. Oh, really? I should have known, John. You're an outdoorsy kind of guy.
I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm going to go with your wisdom.
You're not?
Don't take the kids.
Oh.
I like that.
That's right.
I did not take that. I took the kids. Let's go to Will in Denver. Hey, Will, what's up, brother?
Nothing. How are you guys doing?
We're partying, man. What's up? How can we help?
So my wife and I we've never gone through Financial Peace University. Kind of inadvertently, we are going through the steps. Mm-hmm. The only debt we have is our mortgage. A lot of our peers and our family friends are having debt problems, and I think it's causing some stress in some marriages. I don't think that locally, in person, we really have any Financial Peace University classes available. How does one, I would like to offer that to our community. How does one go about facilitating that?
Wow. Well, number one, I just love your heart behind this. I love that you're, looking at your community. If you're rich but nobody around you is rich, what does it matter? You want everybody to be able to partake in what you've learned and what works. So I really, really love that. Yeah, I would just suggest going to RamseySolutions.com/peace and signing up to be a coordinator. And look, we are always looking for more coordinators, because that work that you are going to do and that work that so many coordinators have done, I mean, that's what's changing lives, right? I mean, you got a hold of that information, even though you said you didn't actually take the FPU class. It's the same information.
I think my wife read the book like a decade ago, and we have not been, as you guys say, gazelle intense.
Yeah.
But we got there.
Good.
And I think her and I should probably sign up and take an official class first. But from there,
you could, but you don't necessarily have to.
Here's what here's what I would do. It Will is you may not need the money information or the insurance information. But there's something about working in the messy lives of other people, and you'll hear stories. I think, and Jade, is something you and I experience a lot, where in our world, where somebody has an experience, a personal experience, and they try to pass that off as expertise. And so, Will, you and your wife have the way it's happened for y'all. The benefit of a class may not be learning the baby steps. You may already pick all that stuff up. The benefit of the class may be watching 15 or 20 different couples as they have had to navigate this in different ways. And that, when you watch a collective group of people go through on the same path, that's the road to wisdom, when you can start coming up with these universal answers, right? That aren't just how Will and his wife did it, but it's how we've seen a bunch of couples do it. And that's the sign of, that's a really great coordinator that can do that for folks.
Mm-hmm.
And so just go to Ramsey.com and look for the coordinator role, and that's something we could maybe facilitate through a local church here and offer it to the community.
That's right. Yeah, you can, when you go onto the coordinator site, you can choose what type of class you want to do. So you can do an in-person class, you can do an online class, or you can do like a flex type class. And the flex basically just means, hey, you guys watch the video on your own, and then we get together to talk about it, whether it's in person or online. Sure. It sounds like you want to go like old school. We sit in the room together, we watch the video together, we learn together, and I love that. I think that both ways can be effective, but I gotta say, I think that when everybody's in a room together, the energy's there. I think that's next level right there. So,
Will, let me catch you this. It's RamseySolutions.com/FPU. RamseySolutions.com/FPU is the site. And by the way, you can do it in a coffee shop. You can do it after hours at your workplace. People are starting to pick up these classes all over the country, and historically they've been done in Sunday school classes. And as more and more churches have stopped doing Sunday school classes, or they've rolled classes online, or they have gone to streaming services, these classes are popping up in different organic spaces, and it's pretty rad to see a group of people get together after hours at the gym and do this class, or folks do it after work together. So there's any number of places where you can do that, but I'm really grateful, man.
Oh, and
Absolutely.
Hey, let me tell you one other thing.
So much.
Let me tell you one other idea. Back when Sam and I first started hosting classes, if kind of like what you're saying with your neighbors and the folks in your community, we actually would just like hand tap people on the shoulder and say, hey, I'm hosting this class. I'd love if you were in it. And that way we kind of we picked 10 folks, had them over to the house. You know, I'd make nachos or make a lasagna or whatever. And it was just such a cool experience. So yeah, man, I'm excited for you. That's great.
So there's one couple on my heart in particular that are good friends of us, and they've shared with us their financial struggles before, but I've just never felt like I didn't feel like they were asking for advice. When my wife tells me she has a problem, she's not looking for me to solve it. She's looking for me to listen. And I feel like these folks were looking for us to listen.
Well, that'd be a great place. I love that, man. I think too many men especially run in and try to start solving things with their advice. But there's something else about an invitation.
Yes, if I can make it available to them and invite them.
That's right. Then you can invite them. And it's you're not shoving it down their throat, but it's, hey, here's an opportunity. We're going to be there. Love for you to join us. Stay on the line. I'm going to send you a gift card for a free year of Financial Peace University that you can give to that family, and tell them it's a gift from you to them, and invite them to the class, and they can come participate and be a part of it. Thank you so much for your heart, brother. 888-825-5225. We're talking relationships, mental health, money, work, whatever you got. We're here for you. We'll be right back.
Well, you've all played the telephone game. The first person whispers a message to the second person, who whispers it to the third, and so on around the table until the original message has completely changed. Multiply that confusion by 100 if you run a business with different software systems that don't talk to each other. That's why there's NetSuite by Oracle. In the early days of Ramsey, we were using different systems for all of our business units. We needed one single source for accurate data. NetSuite was the software we used to optimize and take us to the next level. NetSuite gave us the visibility into all of our numbers so that we could communicate across departments and plan ahead better. And as we grew, it scaled with us. NetSuite worked for Ramsey, and it will make a difference for your business too. Join the more than 34,000 customers who trust NetSuite to help make them smarter and make better decisions and level up their operations. To learn more, get a free product tour at netsuite.com/Ramsey. That's netsuite.com/Ramsey.
We are back. This is the Ramsey Show. I'm John Deloney, joined by Jade Warshaw. We're taking your calls, 888-825-5225. It's 888-825-5225. So, Jade, student loan repayments are all the talk of the town. I want to say this first. We were talking about this a little bit earlier. I was surprised at the number of people that... I don't know how to say it in a nice way. They came after me and said, well, I hope you're happy.
Oh.
I said, what do you mean you hope I'm happy? And it was this very strong, well, we know what y'all stand for and you got what you wanted.
Yeah.
And Ramsey's so excited. So I guess just between me and you and the people listening, I'm a fan of people who were taken advantage of having their loans forgiven. I don't have a problem with that. I can't stomach it while they're also making loans the next semester. And so if you're going to fix the whole system, I'm all in. I was a part of that system.
Sure.
I get it. If you're going to piecemeal it as political theater, then the summer session 1 or summer session 2, they could have gotten their loans forgiven July 1 and turned around and taken out new loans for summer session 2.
And that's
then
exactly what happened.
Exactly. So it's not none of this is people being honest about solving a problem. It's about it's about political theater,
garnering
all
votes
around the campfire here.
Absolutely.
So, but there is going to be some big repercussions of this, and so this article comes out. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, it says the Supreme Court struck down President Biden's student loan forgiveness plan on Friday, which I'm sure you all know, which adds just another layer of uncertainty to those who are straddled with payments. And I'm just going to read this real quick. For more than 3 years, federal student loan borrowers have not had to make monthly payments. We know that. And by the way, that costs taxpayers $5 billion per month. All right. You're not going to, I'll never mention that without mentioning that stat of how freaking expensive just the pause was. Forget getting to the actual forgiveness. Okay. But the pandemic era pause is coming to an end this fall. We know that, setting up a financial shock for millions of Americans and the big name stores where they shop. So here's an interesting twist here. So we're seeing that as these student loans come back, John, everybody's looking at their budget going, yay! Like, I gotta find this money somewhere, because again, what we know is for the past 3 years, people had this pause and they had this extra money in their account. And we know that they've replaced the student loan debt with other types of debt, whether it's car loans, home mortgages, just living life, you know what I'm saying? And so now coming, payments which are going to resume August 30th, those payments are substantial for a lot of people. And now we're finding that retail stores are going to kind of take the hit because these folks ain't paying the money. It says the average monthly bill hovers between $200 and $300 per person, although it's even higher for some borrowers. Collectively, borrowers will resume paying about $10 billion a month. And the resumption of these payments will likely force households to cut back on spending in other areas, particularly retail.
And I think that's right.
Yeah, I do too.
If you're a retailer and people have been buying your goods and services on credit the last 3 years, there's a reckoning coming. And again, what I hope everyone listening to this, so I do have a heart. I'm a retailer. I have stuff I want to sell, right? I've got a book coming out in October, and I just keep looking at this going, oh, are you kidding me, right? But I'm hoping that the consumer's the one looking at this and saying, I've got a 3-month ramp here where I can begin to make some hard choices, have hard conversations with my spouse, with my kids, start getting an extra job, sell this car, because there's going to be a bunch of cars on the market in September and October, November.
That's right.
There's going to be homes on the market. So we rarely get 90 days or 120-day head start in life.
That's right.
I mean, you've got that right now. You know what's coming. If you wait until October just to go, oh my God, then that's on you.
I agree.
You've waited, right?
There's so much time here. And I this is kind of a funny article. It says a number of brands. People like American Eagle, Carter's, Crocs. I think that's funny. Nike, Gap. These folks are going to be the ones feeling the hit. Victoria's Secret. And if they feel a hit, I think they'll be all right. I would rather people pull back on their spending, find that margin so that they can make their payments, because let's not forget, and guys, I'm always going to give you the facts so you can keep it in front of you. Don't forget, before the pause, half of all borrowers were in default, which means they weren't able to make their payment. So that should tell us as a whole where we were back in 2019 before stuff got ratchet. And now that it is even more ratchet, don't expect, do you know what I'm saying? Like, don't expect that things are just going to magically be all right when we knew before that they weren't all right. You've got to actually make steps to make things better. And like this said, $300 in your budget, a lot of folks, you're scrambling around right now, and I have a heart for you because I get it. And you're like, where's this money going to come from? It might be your car loan. It might be that hard step of like, man, I got this car, it's too much car, trading it in and getting something less expensive, because you can only side hustle for so long. Like most of us, this payment, it's going to follow us around for a couple of years. And how long do you really want to Instacart? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Or it may be time to sit down. Again, you get 90 days. It may be time to sit down and say, is this the work I want to be doing? Is this the right community for us?
That's
we moved here in 2020. We tried to make a go of it. It's not for us. Is it time to go back home? Is it time to find another new community?
Yeah.
Both you and I have moved for our careers. That's life. It's part of it, right? And is it fun? No. Is it cutting ties great? No, it's the worst. But sometimes we have to do what we got to do.
That's right. And you want to know what, John? I'm going to say something. Because you started out the conversation this way. And I was talking to James, our producer, and he was like, sometimes people think that you're excited that they didn't get forgiveness, or that you're excited that people won't get forgiveness. And I'm like, no, that's not it at all. I just want people, I get upset when I see people stripped of their power, or when they step out of their power, or when they give their power to someone else. That bothers me. And I get way more excited when there's an opportunity for people to gain their power back.
Correct.
And for them to realize what they're capable of. And so if that ever came off that way, that's not what I want. I want you guys to know that I want you to win. I get what it feels like to be under student loans. Look, when we had private loans, some of that interest was forgiven, and it was the best thing that ever happened. I was like, oh God, thank you for giving us back this $30,000 in interest. So I get it. Private loans work a little differently than federal loans though, and it didn't come out in y'all's tax dollars. So that's just, at the end of the day, I'm thinking about tax dollars. I'm thinking about how this money is spread around. I did not like the language free money, forgiveness, because it's not free.
It's not free. It cost everybody everything.
It cost everybody everything. So
right.
that's where that comes across for me.
Well, and both you and I have been through it, right?
Yeah.
Our houses, you've paid off way more than us, but we paid off. We had commas, right?
Yeah, come on. Come on with the commas.
So again, we're two people that can speak from it. We've been there. We know it.
Yeah.
We get it. Where you can't breathe and you got to live a certain way, and all of our friends are driving these things and living this way, and we're not. We've been there.
Yeah.
Both of our families have been there. Put off having, like, I don't know about y'all. We took us a long time to have kids. All these things happen because of these student loans. But for me, there's a moment when, like with my kids, when I wasn't clear on some instructions, and I go up and I got one kid climbing on the ceiling and one kid hanging out, whatever, and I finally just say, okay, I'm starting over. I'm gonna be real clear from this point forward. And my belief in college and my belief in people getting educated post high school is strong. I believe in it.
Yeah.
My belief in my friends and family members and community members that were scientists and professors trying to make the world a better place. I believe in it. And I can't take any more calls from 24-year-olds who can't breathe.
Okay.
And 28-year-olds whose marriage is falling apart. And so there has to be some way in the middle that we solve this problem.
Yeah.
And if somebody comes in and says, hey, I've got this plan, here's what it's going to look like, and we're going to start today and solve this big thing, then, man, I'm all about like going up to the kids and being like, all right, clear the decks.
That's right.
But we're not even close. We're not even close.
They got to stop making them.
Yeah.
They've Full stop right now. If you want to solve the problem, you've got to stop creating it. You cannot solve a problem while simultaneously creating it. Period.
Yeah, we're arguing about the type of blood transfusion to give while the doctor just keeps on cutting, right? While they just keep on cutting and cutting and cutting. Got to stop the bleeding first, and then we can start looking at the damage and see what we can do about it.
Agree.
Oh, man. 888-825-5225. If you haven't canceled us, we'll be right back on The Ramsey Show.
Hey, Dr. John Deloney here. I'm a huge fan of both meditation and prayer. And good mental health includes slowing down, gaining control of your thoughts, and plugging into something bigger than you. And Hallow makes it easy to start a daily practice of meditation, prayer, and finding peace. Hallow is the #1 Bible app in the world, and you can tailor content towards your faith tradition. From scripture readings and prayers to meditation and journaling, Hallow makes it easy to practice prayer, meditate, and build a deeper, more meaningful spiritual life and rediscover true peace. Go to hallow.com/Ramsey today to get 3 months of Hallow for free. That's hallow.com/Ramsey.
Triple 825-5225. This is The Ramsey Show. I'm John Deloney, joined by Jade Warshaw. Let's go out to Arsalan in Queens, New York. What's up, Arsalan?
Hey, how you doing?
We're doing great. How about you?
Doing good. Well, me and my wife, we got married back in 2020 during COVID. And preceding that, we just have a beautiful little daughter, just arrived 3 months ago. We paid off all of our wedding debt that we had, so we currently owe $0 to anyone except for our car loan that we have. Yep. Thank you. Except for the car loan that we have. We do have a car loan. So, but besides that, we don't owe any money to
How much
anybody,
is the car loan, Arsalan?
The car loan is about, I think, $45,000 for a 74-month term. So,
okay, hold
every
on.
month is
Arsalan, you can't start a call saying, I don't owe anybody any money except. That's like saying I only eat super healthy food except for Twinkies and Burger King and McDonald's and Taco Bell.
Yeah, I'm contradicting myself over there.
Well, how much do you make, bro?
Yeah, you're right. Well, I make $105 a year with 15% annual bonus, and my wife makes about $55 with another 10% bonus for her.
Okay. So in Queens, that's a little bit above minimum wage, basically?
Yeah, in Queens, based out of Queens, is a little bit above minimum wage.
Man.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, right? So we're currently renting right now, and we're paying about $2,000 a month for a one-bedroom apartment. And we don't mind moving out to the suburbs, but in Long Island, the houses are at like $600. We currently have about $25,000 saved up. Okay. And we just want to know what we should do moving forward. Like, should we just rent, save up more, or should we just take that money and just buy yourself a house? Now, I even thought about buying myself a condo, but then the HOA fees here in Queens are like $1,000 a month, and I don't want to throw money away like that. So what do you recommend that I do?
Okay, this is really good. I'm glad that you're thinking about this. I'm glad that I'm glad you got some money saved. That's great. You do have the $45,000 in loans. So can I just walk you through the principles here that we would follow, and then you can decide if you like it or not. Basically.
Sure, go for it.
Okay, so buying a home is super important, right? Everybody wants a home. That's the American dream. We know it's a big part of building wealth, but on this show, we see time after time when people don't do it the right way, something that was supposed to end up a blessing turns into a burden. It turns into a headache. It turns into them having to sell a house that they really love to keep. And so I want to keep that from happening to you, especially in an expensive place like New York. So what I would say, first things first, A1, is let's get all this debt paid off. All right, let's get rid of this $45,000 car note. And it's your choice. You can either pay it off, pay off the $45,000 as it is, or you can try to downsize your car so that it's less debt and then pay that off, that sort of thing. Do you see what I'm saying? So getting rid of that car loan, because we don't want to go into home ownership saddled with debt. Because if anything happens, your home is on the line, right? You got to be able to make that payment. So let's get clear of the debt. Now, the way we would suggest clearing out that debt is this little 3-step process here. We would say have $1,000 saved first. That's your like simple emergency fund, right? And so you've got $25,000 saved. So what I would suggest is taking $24,000 of that $25,000 and paying down this car, get it half gone,
And down the car.
and then pay off the rest of it, working hard and using, your income. How quickly could you do that?
We could do that within like at least 2 years. That's maybe even less.
I bet less.
My concern about that is, when it comes down to cars, I feel like let's say I pay off the car, and then the next day, tomorrow, I get into a car accident, God forbid, right?
Yeah.
And if I get into a car accident, then I lose out on the car, and my insurance premium goes up, and then I also lose out on the money that I just paid off the car with. Whereas I have gap insurance, and like if God forbid something does happen to my car, I feel like gap insurance covers the remaining balance of the car, and it pays off the.
So your plan in life is to have a car payment for the rest of your life, so that if you ever get in a car accident, you're not out money. Am I understanding that correctly? Because if that's what you're saying, Arsalan, I'm about to make you look silly here on the radio, and I don't want to do that.
Don't make me look silly now.
No,
Look,
Arsalan, you made yourself look silly on this one.
Come on, Arsalan. I think that's just you saying, I don't want to come out of pocket to pay this off. Because at the end of the day, you have insurance. If something happens, they're going to pay out. Yes, you might not get the exact value. I mean, that's just part of it. But you're still going to end up in a better situation if you have the car paid off.
7% or 8% against that $45,000 car over 72 months for the privilege of something that's probably not going to happen.
Yeah. You're paying for the car
true.
3 times over so that you can avoid something that's not even something you need to avoid. It doesn't make sense.
That makes sense. Makes sense. I get where you're coming in from. So you recommend just pay off this car immediately.
Get the debt cleaned up immediately, as quickly as possible. Take on extra work to do it. Then stack up that savings back up to $25,000. All right. Then and only then, because you want to go into the home ownership, no debt, with 3 to 6 months saved. Okay. And then we need to start talking about the real cost around home ownership, because a lot of times we just talk about the down payment, and I'm like, no, there's more to it than that. When you go to buy a house,
exactly.
I always tell people, keep this acronym in your mind. You want a stacked deck, DEC. You need to be ready for a down payment, which could be, I don't know, about 5 to 10% for sure.
I'd say 10 to 20, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be nice, but I'm not mad if he gets it between,
Yeah, as a 20% for a $600,000 house, that's $120K.
Look, the reason
that's a lot of money
we want you to have a lot, because we want you to have instant equity, and usually you need to get somewhere between at least above 5%, because you don't want to be, try to get it 10 to 20. Then you want it, you might have to do some earnest money, right? Sometimes they ask you to put like 1 to 3% down to say like, yes, I'm actually going to buy this house. And then you've got your closing costs.
And let me put on top of that, okay? Arsalan, I'm all about it too. My wife and I bought a house. It's incredible. We love it. We had it inspected, and then we had a couple of different aspects of it inspected by another professional. In the 3 years we've owned it, I've had to replace the roof, an air conditioner. We had to replace some water system. And then this past weekend, we had the electric guys out because something kept tripping down in the basement, and the guys told my wife, and I quote, "You're going to want to sit down before I tell you what actually is going on."
Oh, wow.
The cost is staggering.
The cost of maintenance, right?
It's just life happens, man. Life happens. And so
we want you to be ready.
Yes. Here's the thing. There's been seasons of my life when I would have thrown up at the number they gave us. I would have vomited, and then I've been trying to figure out how to get out of this house. In this case, because we followed this plan all the way through, it's annoying, pretty frustrating. And the argument my wife and I had was who had to call and schedule it, not what car did we have to sell. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're trying
I guess what I'm afraid of is, I'm afraid of obviously that, but I'm also afraid of the way, like, let's say I pay the car off and I have money saved, but I'm paying rent every month, and I feel like I'm just throwing money away in a trash can.
You're not. You're not.
I get that, but you're not. My husband and I, we rented for 10 years.
And me and my wife have probably rented for 5 to 10 also.
And look, what you're saying is not, I get that. You do feel like it, but when you understand the intent behind it, if you understand the end point, the goal in mind, and keep your eye on that, then it kind of puts the rest of it into perspective. It's like, no, I'm not throwing this money away. I'm doing something smart so that later I can, so that I can have the thing that I want. And you understand that there's some length to that. And it's not just, that decision to rent does not exist in a bubble,
it's part of a plan.
Apart from everything else. Right. So,
Arsalan, let me ask you a hard question.
Yeah.
If buying a house meant leaving New York, would you do it?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been telling my wife, let's move to Texas, but she doesn't want to. So,
well, Texas is a long way from New York, but there's a lot of stops in between. But I'm seeing more and more and more people say, hey, we want to have the life we want over some magical geographical location. So if it means going to Texas, going to Kansas, going to Nashville, we're going to move and get the house that we want. We'll be right back. This is the Ramsey Show. I'm John Deloney, joined by Jade Warshaw. Listen, on this show we talk to a lot of hurting people, and if you're like us, you live in you live in a community, in a neighborhood where people are hurting, or you hear the news and you're beside yourself on either side of the aisle with how your neighbors are spending their money, how your government is spending your money, and you just want to scream, will somebody please teach these people? The easiest way you can help out your neighbors, to help out folks in your community that you will never otherwise talk to, is simply to like or subscribe or leave a 5-star review of the show, because it kicks it up in the algorithms and it puts the show in front of more people who are typing at midnight after they just got a credit card balance that they can't pay. Oh God, what do I do? How do I pay off debt? And it kicks the show up in front of them and it puts them on a new path. The number of people who call us and say, I was desperate at 2 a.m., at 1 a.m., and I ran across this show on YouTube, or I was scrolling through podcasts trying to find some glimmer of hope in the darkness, and the algorithm kicked this show up to me. It's staggering how many people call and let us know. It costs nothing to help out your neighbor. So just like, subscribe, tell your friends. If you have a particular episode that means a lot to you, text it over to your friends, send it around, but spread the word, and let's help everybody get their heads screwed on straight when it comes to their life, their relationships, their money, their work, all of it. We all could use a little more peace. All right, let's go out to Charlotte, North Carolina, and talk to the great and wonderful Margaret. What's up, Margaret?
Hey, how are y'all today?
We are partying. How about you?
I'm great, thanks.
What's up?
So I'm a single mom. I have 2 kids. The oldest is going off to college. I make about $130,000 a year, and I just started a new job, so I have the potential to make a good bit more, which is awesome. I have about $40,000 in credit card debt. I have a mortgage. It's around $500,000. Or it's around $500,000. My payment is around $3,200. My mom lives with me, but she pays rent. And I've tried numerous times to do the baby steps, but I feel like something always comes up. There's always some kind of emergency, and then there goes my emergency fund, and then there goes the credit card. So I wanted to see if y'all suggest putting more in an emergency fund, like $2,000 instead of $1,500. What do you?
I wouldn't. I am curious what sorts of things are coming. I have several questions, but
okay.
So with the emergency fund, you're getting the $1,000 saved super fast, right? Like 30 days max, right? It's not taking you forever and a day to get it saved, right?
No, it's not.
Okay. So when these emergencies that are popping up, what types of things are popping up?
A lot of times it can be medical bills or a car issue. Like I had a tire blowout, and then I realized it was time to get all new tires. So, I do have a car loan. It's a low interest rate and low.
Oh, I thought you said
monthly
you only
payment.
had credit card debt.
I did. Sorry. Let me back up. Car loan as well.
How much is that?
It's in total, I think it's $18,000.
Okay. So it's just the credit cards, the car payment, anything else, student loans, anything like that?
No.
Okay.
Let me hop in here real quick, and then Jay's going to take it. I have to say this. You had a tire explode, and then you realized that it was time to get new tires.
Yeah.
If you live with the new way of thinking that we're trying to teach you, you can't afford new tires. You can only, do you need them? Absolutely. Do you need to rotate it again and see if they'll go through another few months until you can get crap paid off? Yes. And next month, can you put it in the budget so you can just cash flow it because you make $130,000? Yes.
Yes.
And
one tire at a time.
It may be one, but see what I'm saying? Like, if you have this idea that I can't afford it, so I can't have it, that's the total soul change we're talking about here. Otherwise, you're going to keep finding these little ticky-tack emergencies, and you're never going to get through with it. Sorry, Jade.
No, John, you make an excellent point, because what I was going to say to you, Margaret, is with the emergency fund, it forces us to rethink what an emergency really is. Now, your tire blows out on the interstate. That's an emergency,
you gotta
right?
get a tire. That's right.
But do you have to buy all 4 tires at once? No, you don't. Can you buy the one that you need, and can you get a cheapo to get you through? Yes, you can. Some of the other things that pop up, you've got to decide, okay, is there a way that I can cash flow this? Because we don't, the goal is not to dip into the $1,000 all the time. You want to try to find a way that you can cash flow it, that you can come up with some extra money, that you can cut something out of your budget in order to make those things happen. And my guess is that maybe you're calling something an emergency simply because it was unexpected. But if it's truly going to be an emergency, it's got to be something that's not only unexpected, but it's got to be absolutely necessary. And there's got to be a time sensitivity on it as well. So a medical bill, I would not go into my emergency fund to pay that. I would be like, hey, let's work out something, but I can't pay you today. Do you see what I'm saying?
And I'll put it in my budget for next month.
Yeah. So let's try to get to the... Oh, go ahead.
So the medical bill, I'm diabetic. So if I get a 3-month, I have newer insurance. It's not as great as what I had before. If I go to get 3-month refills, then I might be spending $400 to $500.
I see.
And so
we got to get that into the budget.
It's got to be in the budget. Yeah.
To where it's not an emergency thing. And I know that, like you said, your insurance is switching, so maybe you didn't necessarily see that coming. But that's what we're looking for. And the bigger thing is, with this, the bigger thing I want to find is, where's the margin in your budget? Because ideally, with your debt, you're creating your budget every month, and there's a certain amount of margin, hopefully, at the end for you to put towards your debt snowball, which is baby step 2. And so hopefully, whenever these things pop up, you're able to go, well, hey, maybe instead of paying extra on this or paying extra on that, I gotta put this in the budget now, and I've got to cash flow it like that. Does that make sense?
Yes, definitely.
So let's try to do that, as opposed to going to the emergency fund. Cash flow first, and rearrange the budget first, and then, and only then, like I said, it's got to be unexpected, it's got to be unavoidable, it's got to be all those things before you really dip into the emergency fund. And I think that should help you. Are you doing the debt snowball?
Yes.
Okay. And you just keep getting knocked back. So yeah, I think that should be, does that sound like that's going to solve your problem? I want to make sure we're solving it for you.
Yeah, it does. I think it gets really discouraging when, something comes up and then I can't put that payment on the credit card debt because I feel like something unexpected came up. So it is something I need to plan for better.
That's fair. And listen, it takes about 90 days. We've found it takes about 3 months for somebody to level out their budget when they start. And so there's an old counseling term from the great Irvin Yalom. It's this: everything is data. So it is frustrating, but you learn something. And So I'm just going to take that information, I'm going to apply it next month, and I'm going to make a better run at it. And then you find out your insurance isn't as great, and this thing that you got for $100 at your last job now is going to cost you $400. That's the worst. But it's just data. Now I got some more information. So next month, I'm going to make sure that when I have to buy this again, I've got that information there. Let me ask you a quick question. You said you got a kid going to college, and you have one other kid and your mom. Is that it?
Yes. I have 2 dogs. Do they count?
I'm going to ask you a naive question. Could it be time to downsize house? You got a $500,000 home.
Yeah, and is your mom paying
budget?
half of the Is she paying half? Please tell me yes.
No, so I actually have an apartment in the house. It has a mother-in-law suite. So she pays about a third, and then I pay 2/3.
Now your 2/3, is it less than 25% of your take-home pay?
Hold on, let me math that real quick.
Math that when you get off the phone with us, because that could be your problem there for
Sounds
sure.
like you got a lot of house for one kid, a couple of dogs, and your mother.
Yes.
It may be time to begin to make some home transitions there. But
Love that.
Just something to think on.
And cut
Man.
up these credit cards.
Yeah, cut them up. And the second caller in a row that's like, hey, I only have this one debt, except for these other debts.
Yeah, that's true.
You got to take full ownership of your reality.
Money that you owe to anyone for any reason is debt.
That's right. Hey, I want to thank the guys in the booth. Thank you, America. We'll be right back on The Ramsey Show.
John Deloney. If you love the show and want a deeper dive on your money journey, we have a weekly newsletter that gives you trending and helpful articles and tips on following the Ramsey way. Just go to RamseySolutions.com today to sign up for our newsletter. Again, that's RamseySolutions.com to sign up for our weekly newsletter.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studio, it's The Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work that they love, and have amazing relationships. I'm John Deloney, joined by my good friend Jade Warshaw, and we are talking about money, life, everything. 888-825-5225. It's 888-825-5225. Let's go out to Lexington, Kentucky, and talk to Angela. What's up, Angela?
Hi, how are you all? Thank you for taking my call. I'm a bit nervous.
Oh, don't be nervous. Jade's good at this. I'm not that good, so you're all right.
You always say that, but you're kind of my favorite. Don't tell anybody else.
Well, you just told me.
She wasn't paying attention. What's
I'm
up?
just kidding.
So I was calling because I wanted to see if there was some new thing that I don't know that I haven't tried to try and get my husband on board. I found out about Dave Ramsey about 7-ish years ago, whenever shortly after I got into church, and told my husband about it. He wasn't very excited, and then he jumped on board for a little bit. We paid off a bunch of debt, and then he kind of fell off the wagon. We ended up getting debt-free and then got back into debt. And like in recent conversations, he's like, why don't we just do our own plan? And I'm like, because this is a proven plan. Like, I know this works.
When you say fall off the wagon, to the tune, like, what does that look like? Because is that, a couple of $100, or is this like a couple of thousands of dollars, or is this like tens of thousands of dollars?
No. Oh, I'd kill him. No. Just like we were talking about buying a house, and, he's listening to people that say you need a credit score. And I'm like, no, you don't. And so he ended up getting credit cards, and then we got a personal loan for a basement remodel. And
and this is in your, is this just in his name and you're against it, or are you going along with it?
I was against it. It was in his name, but I was a part of it too. Like, one credit card was in my name that he got on his account. I'm gonna
let John hit you up on this, because there's more here.
Yeah. you're married to a child. You're more his mom than you are his wife, right?
Yes.
Yes. And you don't like fighting either.
Right.
And maybe it's not unsafe, but it's probably not wise. And so you just go along with it. And at some point, you have to say, I'm not going to be your mom anymore. I want to be your wife.
Yeah.
And my guess is everything is getting put onto this plan. And this plan is getting all the blame. This plan gets all the success. And what hasn't happened is there's not been an identity change in your marriage. And the identity change in the marriage is we are people who will never borrow money again. Ever. The house is on fire, come hell or high water. We're not borrowing money. And a tool to make that identity a reality is this plan. But if you make the plan the good guy and the bad guy all the time, it's easy to be like, let's just come up with our own. Because I'm tired of fighting you. And you're married to an impulsive child who wants what he wants right now. I want a new basement remodel. And he sounds like he watches a ton of Instagram. And
the basement remodel is my idea because we
What?
live with his mom. Because we live with his mom to help her out. And it was supposed to be a temporary situation so that we could save up to buy our own house. And so the basement was my own place, my own space, my kind of like separation from her.
You took out a loan to upgrade your mother-in-law's house?
It wasn't like it was a couple $1,000s, but like it's almost paid off now.
Wait. I gotta bust in for a second. Can I just tell you, if you have a mistake that you made, which I think that you taking out that loan was a mistake, and I think you do too. But if you keep saying, yeah, but, and it was just for this, and it was because, and you keep like...
And it was my husband's fault.
Yeah, and you keep saying why it was okay, then it's no longer a mistake in your mind, and you're more likely to do it again, as opposed to just going, we did that, that was so dumb.
And never again.
We learned our lesson. Do you see what I'm saying? But the more you caveat it with reasons why it was okay, the more likely you are to do it again.
And I'm guessing your husband's not going to get on board because you're not on board.
Well, I'm on board. It's just trying to get...
No, you're not.
You're not.
Girlfriend, you are not on board.
You borrowed money. Why are you living in your mother-in-law's basement?
Because she's a widow.
Uh-huh.
And it was to help her out. And
what does she need help with?
Finances. She doesn't work. And draws disability and things. So.
Okay. It may be time for some... Let me just say it like this. If I found myself in your situation, and it's not as though were dropped in here. This is just a global, you've made some errors, your husband's made some errors, y'all found yourself in this place. You are taking care of somebody who's not working, who's drawing either Social Security or disability. It's just a big old mess. I would take my husband out for lunch or for breakfast. And again, people always ask me why do I always say that? Because if you take somebody out for dinner, after a couple of hours, when you get to 9 or 10 o'clock, there's no more productive business meetings happening. So I have something powerful about going for breakfast or going for lunch when the sun is still shining and you are able to be clear-headed and for several hours in a row. And I want you and your husband to decide, we're looking at mom. She's on disability. Her kids are living in her basement because she doesn't have any alternatives. Is this the life that we want to chart forward for ourselves? Or do we want to look at each other and say, never again? Mm-hmm. Never again. And that means starting with, we're not ever going to borrow money, ever. That means we are going to always check in with each other and be people of honor and integrity with one another and then with everybody else. Mm-hmm. And that means we are going to follow this plan, and we've got a laid out plan here. And honey, I'm on board, and I've been getting mad at you for not being on board. I haven't been on board either. And we're not going to live at my mother-in-law's house. She may at some point move in with us because we're going to take care of her. That's great. But we're not going to find our dignity and worth and stand up tall by living in my mother-in-law's basement. It's not how that's going to work. So we're going to move out, we're going to get our own place, and we're going to start building on our own 2 feet. And you're going to have to ask your husband to be a grown man and not a child anymore. All of this is going to have to start happening. Stay on the line. I'm going to send you Financial Peace University for a year, the Every Dollar app, and I'm going to send you a copy of my book, Own Your Past, Change Your Future. I want you and your husband to read that together. We'll be right back.
Hey folks, you know that sinking feeling when you make an offer on a house you love and then you hear there's another offer? You need the Churchill Mortgage Home Buyer Edge. Super fast pre-approval and a secured interest rate. Plus a $5,000 seller guarantee gives your offer the best chance of being accepted. The Home Buyer Edge from Churchill gives you an advantage over those other guys. Go to churchillmortgage.com today to learn more.
This is the Ramsey Show, 888-825-5225. If you're a new listener and you want to know what we're even talking about, when we talk about things like the baby steps and the snowball and all those things, go to RamseySolutions.com and click on the Get Started button. We're going to help you figure out the next best step for you in your financial journey based exactly where you are today. A lot of times people say, well, that call didn't have anything to do with me. We can tailor make this thing for you, okay? RamseySolutions.com, click on Get Started, and we'll walk you to debt freedom from there. Let's go out to Lane in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. What's up, Lane?
Hey, John. Hey, Jade. How are you guys?
We're good. How are you?
Pretty good. Can't complain.
Excellent, man. What's up?
So basically, I just wanted to, I guess, say thank you for you guys, or to you guys, just for teaching what you teach. I guess for some context, my wife and I I'm 23, my wife's 21. We have a 15-month-old daughter, and like 3-4 days ago, our house got wiped out by a tornado.
No,
shoot,
man. Everybody's okay?
Yeah.
In Calgary?
Okay.
Wait, where are you?
So we actually live about an hour north of Calgary, near Didsbury. I don't know if that means anything to you, but yeah. And
I didn't know they had that kind of weather there.
Is that normal?
We do now. Yeah. So this was the biggest tornado in Alberta in the last 36 years.
Wow.
There was quite a few farms taken out. We're rural. Yeah. So thankfully there were more people, but no one was hurt, by the way.
Thank goodness.
Good, man.
But yeah, if anyone was in our house, they would have been, well, no more. We'll put it that way.
Wow.
But like we have most of our stuff, we don't have a house. We're living with my mom for the time being, and we'll transfer into other things. But I just, when it happened, like we hightailed it over there. And I guess to put it in a way that makes sense, like I don't care financially. Like we have insurance. Like we're on baby step 4, 5, and 6.
Good, man.
We have an emergency fund, and like I was way more worried to make this call to talk to you guys than I was about our house being wiped out.
Wow.
To put it in perspective, and I just wanted to say thank you, and it means the world that you guys teach this stuff. And it's my mother-in-law that actually introduced me to you guys, and man, I'm so grateful because I don't know where we'd be otherwise.
Dude, that means the world that you took the time to call, Lane. Circle back and appreciate it. And I think it's important for everybody to know that Jade and I have no illusions. We know we're just a couple of knuckleheads on the radio.
You did it.
You're the one actually working, man. And
appreciate it.
Wow. Good for you.
Good for you, man. I'm glad everybody's safe and okay. And I'm glad that y'all get to make the next step moved from a position of strength, not a position of desperation. That's incredible, man.
Wow.
And
great place to be.
Well, dude, I'm really grateful that you circled back and gave us a shout, dude. That means the world to us.
John, people say people call in and they thank us and they're happy with the results of the plan. And, we said it and we weren't joking around. He's the one that did the work there. And I think sometimes we've seen it on previous calls. I think sometimes with Financial Peace University, people kind of get it in their head that it's a magic trick. And that if I just take the class will do its magic work and I'll be magically where I want to be financially. And that's not how it is at all. You get the information and you get to choose whether or not you're going to implement it. You get to choose whether or not you're going to go all in. Because, when you really stop at we know it's a plan that works for people who choose to work it. We know that it's helped millions of people get out of debt and change their lives, and not just get out of debt, but go on to build wealth and become, baby steps millionaires and things like that. But those are the people, they choose to show up every week, right? Because it's 9 weeks. So they choose to say, this is a priority for me for 9 weeks. I'm going to cut out and carve out this area of my time. I'm going to show up, whether it's in person or online, because you get your choice. And they're the heroes in this story. It's not us. We get to, like you said, be on here and be goof-offs on the radio. And for some reason, people listen to us and it's amazing. But they're the ones who carve out that time. They do the work, and they're the ones that see the turnaround. They see that improvement. And it doesn't take long. Most of the people who really dig into Financial Peace University, man, they're seeing like $8,000 turnarounds, lickety split, within the first 30 days and things like that. So that call was really a testament to not only, it's not about the plan, it's about the plan plus the person. Right? And plus their involvement in it. And that's when it works. So if anybody's interested in going through the same plan that helped my guy out, come on. Tornado blew down his house. And yet here he is. Financial Peace University. You can find that going to RamseySolutions.com/FPU.
And one more thing, and this is for everybody listening. We have a bad psychology where I'll forever remember right after 9/11 happened and all of I don't remember if it was the Senate or the House, the Congress was on the steps of the White House singing together, and it was this moment.
Yeah.
And humans have an ability to come together in madness and make clear-headed next right decisions. But man, we make the stupidest decisions in times of, it's all good. It's all good. We just pretend reality doesn't count.
Yeah.
And so.
Short memories.
Yes. And so I don't mean this in a caustic way at all. But what happened to Lane will happen to all of us. Life will come at us. Moms will get sick. Kids will have issues. Tornadoes will hit houses. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And so this plan, and I say this plan, living a life where you don't owe anybody anything. You said it earlier, living a life where I am fully empowered to be as free as possible in my health, in my relationships, in my finances, in where I work, an ability to stand up tall in a culture that is so disempowering.
Man, chopping you down.
When it comes, the most annoying thing will be who's going to call to the air conditioner person. I want to call in and say thank you, and I'm nervous about that. That's the hardest part of losing my house. It will come. Do you have a group of people with you that you can weep with? Do you have an emergency fund? Do you have these things? Because it's going to come. And we had thousands and thousands of years of farmers who knew this. Don't go through all your grain. You're going to have a couple of years where it doesn't rain. That's life. And in 2 short generations, we've just thought we're smarter than nature, and we can beat it all with our smarts and our technology. It doesn't work, man. It will come for you.
You make a great point, because it's true. And I don't say this to be like a fatalist or to be negative,
it's life.
But you cannot plan your life based on best case scenarios. Like, so many times people call in, and I've been guilty of it. It's like you have this idea of something you can do, but if you really stop to break down your plan, everything has to be perfect in order for it to work,
and
right? Not one domino can fall in order for it to work, right? And then what happens? That one domino falls that you never perceived could fall, and you're like, holy crap, everything's caving in on me, and I don't. And that's why things like this are so important. I mean, one call we had, the girl's got diabetes, right? And she's trying to get her medication. How great would it be if that's never an issue for her again? She's just got the money piled up. She's got the financial piece. I heard you talking about your electricity problems. And it's like to just be able to you can just up and pay that bill. But I know there's plenty of people listening who, if something happened and the electrical went out on their house, they'd be up a creek because there's no margin there. There's no room for error. My AC went out the other week. It was happened to be one of the hottest days, and my husband was out of town. It was like no big deal. All right. Nobody likes to pay for things like that. But do you know what I'm saying? Like, just to have that piece of,
yeah,
we're good.
It's that piece.
It's the piece.
But life's coming. The tornado's coming. And again, it's not a fatalist thing. It's not we're fear mongers. No.
It's just life.
We just do life with people who are hurting. We wouldn't have a job if everything went right all the time.
All right.
And so live a life where you're connected with other people. Live a life where you enjoy going to work. Live a life where you don't owe anybody anything. And like I said a minute ago, in a world that is telling you you can't survive without us, stand up tall and say, yeah, I can. As for me and my house, yes, we can. We'll be right back.
If you're like most people, your home is your most valuable asset. And when you want to make improvements, it can feel like everything costs too much or takes too long. But something as simple as custom window coverings from Blinds.com can completely change your space and add value to your home. We've recommended Blinds.com for over a decade, so you know you can trust them. From blinds, drapes, and shutters to motorized shades, they make it easy and affordable to upgrade your entire home, and their team is ready to help with everything from design consultation to measuring and installation. Plus, there are never any misleading quotes or hidden fees. Everything's backed by their 100% satisfaction guarantee, and shipping is always free. See why Blinds.com is the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings. Visit Blinds.com to save up to 40% off everything site-wide. Go to Blinds.com for more information.
This is The Ramsey Show, 888-825-5225. The Ramsey Show question of the day is brought to you by Neighborly, your hub for home services. Neighborly is the place to find reliable help for your home from trusted, locally owned businesses like Glass Doctor, Precision Garage Door Service, and Mr. Handyman. Visit neighborly.com today to find home experts available to serve you.
All right. Today's question comes from Heather in Virginia. She says, the cost of living is really high where I live, and I'm considering moving to somewhere cheaper. The hard part is that I'm currently living paycheck to paycheck and barely able to make minimum payments as it is. How would you recommend someone move when they can't afford it? Between just moving costs, deposits on a new rental, setting up utilities, etc., it seems impossible to move so I can better my financial situation when I can't even afford my current bills. That's a great question. So I love that she's thinking, okay, where I live is super expensive. If I really want to get out of this, I'm going to have to move. And the best way to do that, obviously, if you found someplace cheaper, that's great. But the only way to do that is to save up and do it. Like, you've got to save up. You're going to have to pause your baby steps or pause whatever it is that you're working on so that all of your money can go towards saving up to actually move. It is expensive to move, John.
It's brutal.
It's brutal, especially if you're moving states, let alone across town. You know what I'm saying? So it is expensive. I would suggest to her that right now, this is kind of like we talk about stork mode, storm mode. This is kind of that thing where if you know you're moving, you've got a move coming up, you've kind of got to stop, put the brakes on everything and say, okay, I'm just saving up to move. I'm saving up for my first and last month's rent. I'm saving up for the moving truck. I'm saving up for all of the foreseeable things that you may need to pay for. Start writing it down, because when you start when you start the process of moving, more and more things pop up, right? And so try to brainstorm as many of those things that you can think of off the top of your head as possible. Check online. I'm sure there's plenty of lists on there of like checklists, things to expect, and just preempt it as much as possible. Save it up, and then you're ready to go. And then you're on your way to more margin in your life because you've got cheaper rent and cheaper cost of living. So good on you.
Here's a couple things that I think might help facilitate this. The first thing is, as you mentioned it, writing it down. Be exact. I would be as exact as you are on baby step 2 when you write your debt smallest to largest. I would know the apartment you're moving into. I would know the cost. I'd call ahead to this community and say, how much does it cost to turn on the electricity, turn on the phone, the internet? Have those numbers and save those dollars as though you're paying debts off. And that way you know exactly, because it feels so overwhelming. But if you know it's 35, it's 75, it's 110, then it becomes more attainable once you see it. And then, man, there are apartment complexes that will run your first 30 days are free, or find an apartment complex that'll work with you. Just start calling and calling and calling. And here's the second big one. Be honest about your stuff. If you have a couch that you got off Craigslist or from your great grandma 9 years ago, don't rent a $2,000 truck to take that couch halfway across the country.
Come on, John.
Just
Come on,
get
John
a
Deloney.
lawn chair and deal with it. I would rather move. I put a couch into storage when I was just out of college, and over the course of that year, that storage space cost me $550, which 25 years ago, you could buy a leather couch with its own cowboy for $550.
Not with the cowboy, though.
But, dude, this couch, I got it out of storage. I was like, this is disgusting. I can't put this in a house. I threw it away.
That's what I'm talking about.
Dumb. It's so dumb. So,
yeah, either strap it to your back and move it yourself, but do not spend money to move that nasty old couch. Yes.
If it's a Craigslist thing, there's Craigslist in whatever town you're moving to.
Yeah.
But you and I have both done life with no furniture, with air mattresses, with yard furniture inside.
Yes.
We've made it work because, again, I'm not going to owe anybody more money.
Yeah.
I'm not living like that anymore. And I can't even remember those days, to be honest with you. They're a part of the past so much. And so, dude, I just wouldn't spend the money to move a bunch of nonsense across the country if you don't have to.
Yeah, I know that's right. And yeah, John, you nailed it. That is so true. I had not thought about that, but you're so right. Do not spend money to move that stuff or store that stuff. Try to sell it where you're at, and then, take the $25 you get from it and buy yourself another, couch or whatever in the meantime. Or, you'll go without for a while and you'll be strong.
There you go. Yes. You need a mattress. That's what you need.
Yes.
All right, let's go to, that's going to end up on social media.
Yeah.
Like
you don't even need a real mattress. Get you an air mattress.
I'm a real mattress kind of guy. I need a real mattress. Let's go out to Anthony in Morgantown. What's up, Anthony?
Hello, thank you for taking my call. It's a pleasure to be here.
You got it, man. Thanks for calling. What's up?
Okay, so I'm about to go into college at West Virginia University.
Okay, cool.
My parents are able to help me out quite a bit, but I'll still owe about $5,500 a year. It's a 4-year school that I'm going to, and so I have about $9,000 in a checking account and $8,500 in stocks. So, would you recommend I take out that loan and pay it back over time, or simply liquidate all my stocks so I can just come out of school about debt free?
So, okay, number one, your parents are helping you out. You said you've got how much in stocks? $8,500?
Yes.
And then what was the other money?
I have $9,000 in checking/savings, and I do have a few hundred in the Roth IRA as well.
Okay, so I would leave the Roth IRA alone. I would leave your $9,000 of savings alone because you need to have some savings. Why can't you, it's $5,500 a year. Why can't you work part-time and pay for this, bud?
I guess I could. I've never thought of that.
Yeah, man. Let's go.
I never thought of a job. Welcome to America.
Yeah, you got, the stocks. If you wanted to liquidate them, you could. Fine, but it's so. Let me make sure I say this the right way. It could be so much worse of what you owe per year. So for it to be $5,500, I think that's a blessing, and I think that is something that you can earn lickety split.
What are you studying, brother?
Computer engineering.
I would have a job working in IT on my college campus tomorrow. Mm-hmm. They were desperate. They will hire you in no seconds flat. Mm-hmm. And what you'll get over the course of 4 years is enough money to pay your tuition. And by the way, Jade touched on something. We often think in absolute cost, like what is the room and board? What is the cost of my tuition? And we forget that life happens, that you want to go on a date, that you got to buy deodorant, that you got to do things in life. Somebody offers you a cool opportunity, but you have to travel to get there. So having some savings is so important. Mm-hmm. I personally would take out all that stock and I would drop it in your savings account just so you have 17 or 18 grand that you can have in your back pocket. Mm-hmm. But, dude, I would work in IT, and what you're going to find over the next 4 years is hundreds of the best and dumbest questions ever asked about IT. I ask the dumb ones, and you're going to learn about computer engineering and the questions that your future boss is going to be asking, the questions you'll be solving for future customers. I would do that tomorrow, man, and that's going to pay for it all the way through. But I would work all the way through college if I were you. And
I can predict, based on some of the statistics out there, that it's going to make you a better student. Working 15, 20 hours a week, part-time, you're going to, studies show GPA is higher, better time management. People just tend to do better in school when they work part-time jobs. So let that help you out.
Don't borrow money on this one. Okay.
Okay.
Don't take the loan out. It's going to be almost impossible for you to take that loan out and then take that money and just pay for it. Mm-hmm. It's going to be so much easier just to say, it's not that much, I'll just deal with it later. And later sneaks up on you real fast. So yeah, you're in a great spot. And good call out, Jade. If you owe $5,500 a semester at a good school like WVU, you've won. Mm-hmm. You've won. Mm-hmm. Congratulations. Work your butt off and get that stuff knocked out as you go. This is The Ramsey Show. We'll be right back. Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm John Deloney, joined by Jane.
Come on, John!
I'm Jade joined by Jade Warshaw. Jeez Louise.
We are partying, as you would say.
I'm gonna run out to Seattle and talk to the great and wonderful Roseanne. What's up, Roseanne?
Hey, how are you guys?
We are rocking on to the break of dawn, and I'm trying to speak clearly is what I'm trying to do, but I'm not doing a great job. How are you?
Okay, I'm good.
Good. So what's up?
I'm calling in to find out what your guys' advice is if we get, dumped in an instant into this digital currency from our government. I mean, what are we supposed to do? Are we supposed to be bringing cash home? What preparation? Or do you think it's just something that would take, this is something that would take a long time to roll out and we'll have plenty of warning?
Can I be super just honest and direct? Is that cool?
Perfect.
Okay. So back in 2000, I think it was 10 or maybe it was 2011, I was crippled with anxiety.
Okay.
My wife described me as being married to a taser. And my friends at work, they loved having me around because I was good at my job, and they couldn't stand having me around because I was always saying, yeah, but what about this? What about this? What about this? What about this? And I had a buddy who's he's still one of my closest best friends on the planet, and he works for the banking commission. And one day I had kind of cornered him, and this is as we're coming out of the ashes of the market collapse and the housing implosion. And Roseanne, I came guns a-blazing, and I know a lot about currency, and I know all about debt modeling, and I was going after him. What about this? What about this? And then what if this happens? What if this happens? What if this happens? And he finally said something to me, Roseanne, that changed my entire life. He said this. At one point, he looked up and realized I wasn't asking specific questions. I was trying to make him make me feel better. And he looked at me and he said, John, I don't have a meteorite plan. And I said, what does that mean? And he said, dude, if the currency crashes and everything as we know it goes away, if we get hit by a meteorite, I'm not going to have spent time planning for that, because when that happens, everything in the world is different from that moment forward. In his exact words, he's my buddy, so he said, by the time you're figuring out what to do, your neighbor would already be trying to take your pets for food. Like we think like if something happens, we're going to prep in this way and this way. These big caustic things that we worry about sometimes, I mean, that's zombie stuff. And so if we woke up one day and our government had taken all of our money out of our accounts and turned it into digital currency, that world would be so insanely different from the world we inhabit right now that spending a second worrying about it or trying to prep for it really isn't a great use of your time.
Okay.
Can I add to that?
Of course, go ahead.
You said something earlier when you first came on the call. You said in an instant. If in an instant, we move to a digital currency. And my first thought, I kind of chuckled because I was like, hey, these governments don't do anything in an instant. Do you see how go down to the DMV. They don't do anything in an instant. So that side of things, I wouldn't be worried about. But can I have permission to can I be Reverend Jade for a second? Because there is part of this that John touched on it. You can't add a single day or a year to your life by being anxious. That's what the Bible says. It says, tomorrow has troubles of its own. Just worry about today, right? So just take it day by day at a time. And things like this, I'm going to just tell you what Jade Warshaw does. One of my favorite things that Dave says when Dave is on air, he says, ultimately, there's only one way to financial peace, and that's to walk daily with the Prince of Peace, Christ Jesus. And in the times that we live in, I don't care what time period you lived in, nothing is going to give you more peace. We can tell you all the data, all the facts. We can tell you, read all the articles, but at the end of the day, the only person or entity that's able to give you peace in this world is Christ Jesus, period. I don't care who's listening out there. You can believe what I believe or not, but that's the pathway to peace. And I think sometimes when we just start asking and overflowing with all these questions, sometimes I just go back and I'm like, man, this earth has existed for thousands and thousands and thousands of years with so many crazy conditions. If it wasn't digital currency, it'd be a meteor, hitting the earth and destroying the world. It'd be a dinosaur chasing after you, right? So you just have to live in the time that you live in and trust God. He numbers your days, not digital currency.
For clarity, Roseanne, I tend to think that we're already there. During COVID, the government agents, they deposited money in my account. They just put it in there.
They just made it.
It's zeros and ones. I mean, nothing happened. They didn't send me a paper check. They just deposited it. My tax return this year was just deposited in my account. So my paycheck from Dave Ramsey, he doesn't sign a paycheck. I just get a deposit. So we are already moving money digitally. We're there. If you're talking about cryptocurrency and using blockchain technology and all that, I'm of the opinion that is inevitable at some point.
And it doesn't have to be a bad thing.
No, I'm not worried about it in the least. When we get there, we'll get there. But like Jade said, I don't think anything happens overnight.
But I think so many times, John, people get like weird, like apocalyptic and weirded out by this. And it's just like, dude, just get in your car and go to work. Yeah.
Roseanne, where does your fear come from? I mean, what stories are you hearing that makes you think that there's just going to be a switch that's flipped?
Okay, this, so again, we live in Washington State. It is very difficult to find anyone who has like-minded values like ours. We were looking for a signing station to sign a petition against a law they just passed here. And we went to this church, and it was that church that we went to last Sunday. And we love the pastor. It is all biblical by the Bible. And I was listening to his podcast, and that was one of his podcasts, was about digital currency. And that, he said, no, the roof isn't blowing off. It's just that we may have to look at being diversified, maybe, adding some silver. Because he talked about the evils of printing money and how well they're doing that up there now.
Yeah, but also there's the equal nonsense of we all just got around us in a circle and said we're going to declare that rock as expensive. It has no value. You can't eat it. You can't do anything with it. You can't use it for fuel. And so anybody long term who's trying to build wealth is not going to buy gold and silver. It's nonsense. It doesn't make any sense. It's Beanie Baby stuff, okay? Would I love a bunch of gold bars? I would take them if you want to give them to me, but I'm going to turn right around and sell them and convert them. Mm-hmm. That sounds like a person who is anxious themselves and is trying to come up with biblical-based excuses for making dumb decisions.
I know that's right. Yeah.
Okay? And so he might have been a wonderful person and a great communicator at church and have a loving group of people. But if he's trying to give you some half-baked biblical reason why you need to get off of diversify from the U.S. dollar and roll into cryptocurrency and buy silver bars on behalf of the church, I would distance myself from that nonsense. It's just not true. It's not accurate. I saw a study yesterday that despite all of the rhetoric and all of the stuff making the news, that the U.S. dollar has actually gained strength internationally.
Yeah, I saw that. Yes.
Right? From, I think it was 59%, from 53% from the marginal revolution guys. It's all of this stuff is just in the ethos, guys. Yeah. You just got to continue to plug ahead with the data we got. That's and when change happens, then we're going to be ready for change. And it's going to be great.
Yes.
And it might not be great. Well, what else? What's worrying about it today?
You got to live your life. You worry about today. Tomorrow has troubles of its own.
That's exactly right. Roseanne, thank you so much for the call. Thanks to the guys in the booth. And thank you, America. We'll be right back on The Ramsey Show.
What's up, guys? It's Jade. Look, if you like what you heard in this episode and want to know more about getting started on the Ramsey baby steps, go to RamseySolutions.com and click the Get Started button. We'll help you figure out the best next step for you based on your specific situation. That's RamseySolutions.com and click Get Started.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studio, it's the Ramsey Show, where people hang out to talk about your money, your marriage, your relationships, your mental health, your work, whatever you got going on in your life. We're here to walk alongside you and help you make the next right step. 888-825-5225. I'm John Deloney, joined by Jade Warshaw, and we're taking your calls on just about everything. And
aliens?
On aliens. Yeah, we were just talking about aliens during the break. Golly, man.
Not aliens, guys.
Yeah, you can call about aliens. We'll talk about them. I'm in.
Oh.
There's some mass confusion back there with the guys.
With the booth dudes.
The booth guys, especially Zach, the YouTuber, who needs to get off the internet. All right, let's go to Phoenix, AZ, and talk to Lindsay. What's up, Lindsay?
Hello?
What's
There
up?
you are.
You're on.
Hey, hi. Oh my gosh, it's awesome that I'm talking to you guys.
Heyo. You too. What's happening?
It feels like okay, so this is not a happy topic, but I'm happy right now. Anyway,
Okay.
Excellent. What's up?
Sorry, I'm just excited. We are getting sued, all right? Me and my husband, we are getting sued by the credit card company.
Yeah.
All right?
I can feel you smiling as you're saying the words, so we're getting sued.
Yes, we are getting sued. Not a great time, but God says joy in, the hardness. I don't know how, but we are. But anyways, I am a mess. I don't know where to go from here. We've made this hole for ourselves pretty deep. I know Dave Ramsey. I've done the book. I've done Financial Peace with my husband. He's not always on board. He did not read the book, but I read the book. All right. I am struggling. We're not on baby step 1 at all. We're not on any baby steps. We're getting sued. I talked to a lawyer. We're paying a lawyer. I'm frazzled. I don't know where to go from here, biblically, spiritually, Dave Ramsey-ly.
Okay, I want to stop you there. First thing is, I want you to take as deep a breath as humanly possible. As deep as you can, I want you to hold it, okay? Hold it for 1, 2, 3, exhale, let it out. Now, I want you to take your elbows and I want you to pull them towards the floor so your shoulders are super far away from your ears. Okay? Pull them all the way down. Here's my promise. The sun's going to come up and y'all are going to be on the other side of this. Okay?
Okay.
It'll be a mess to get through it. That's all good. I've been through messes. Jade's been through messes. We all go through messes. You will come out on the other side of this. Cool?
Yeah.
That's my promise.
I believe it.
Okay. So how big... Oh, and before we get into the details, no more talking bad about my friend Lindsay. Fair?
Yes.
We're done.
Okay.
Have you done stupid stuff?
All the time.
Okay, that's it. Me too. The only thing we can do is work on moving forward. But if you carry that around, you know the difference between guilt and shame? The difference between guilt and shame is this. Guilt, you do something dumb. You borrowed a bunch of money that you didn't have, and then all of a sudden the debts come due and you don't have the money to pay it, and somebody sues you. And you're holding this cinder block, and you're holding it. That's guilt. That was dumb. Your body's telling you it's dumb. Your friends tell you it's dumb. The banker tells you it's dumb. It was dumb. Shame is when you put that sucker in your backpack and you say, I'm dumb. And you're not. Okay? I want you to stop.
Sure?
Yeah, I'm positive. Okay? I wouldn't be doing this if I thought everyone who made mistakes were mistakes themselves.
Okay.
Okay? I would be doing something else with my life. That's my promise, okay? So we can dig into the numbers, but I want you to make sure you're with me full on that this is not an unsalvageable mess, okay? And notice, I don't even know what the numbers are, but I'm sitting next to a woman who paid off almost $500,000 of a hole. Me and my wife paid off 6 figures of a humongous hole. So I know us two, and Jade and Sam are brilliant and smart. Me and my wife aren't.
Stop that.
Okay? So we can do. Oh, actually, my wife's pretty smart.
I was gonna say, don't put Sheila
She's pretty
into this.
smart. She's pretty smart. But all I have to say is you're good. Okay, we squared up. Now let's get into the numbers part of it.
So, how much are we looking at for the credit card debt that you're being sued for?
So, there might be 3 lawsuits, but right now there's 2.
Okay.
For sure, 2 is $12,700 and some change.
Okay.
And the second one is $4,300 and some change. And they're both in different courts because of the amount. But
okay. So
we were able to settle it in the very beginning when we weren't able to pay, and we had the money, kind of, sort of. We could have borrowed from a family member, but honestly, I think pride got in the way, and we were just like, why are we paying them? We've been paying them for years, and it hasn't gone down very much.
Mm-hmm.
And you get in that hole of like credit cards are evil, but it's not like we didn't know, right? It's not like you didn't know that they charged interest. So
Sure.
I don't know. I
But
think,
sometimes people don't understand exactly how it's accumulating. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we actually had 16 different types of debts since 2015. And I and my husband had paid them off one by one.
Great.
Through the snowball.
Great.
And
how
we
much
were
have
down to 3.
How much have you paid off, Lindsay?
Like maybe around, in total, probably around $60,000.
Come on.
That's incredible.
Very good.
Incredible. You're at the finish line. You got 3 left?
Hey.
Well, we made mistakes with the 3 left. The 3 left is like...
Who cares? I think you're focusing more on what you're perceiving as a loss than you are on all the wins that you've had along the way.
And by the way, let's cut to it. Are you getting sued? Has an attorney contacted you, or did you get one of those letters from somebody saying they're representing such and such credit card?
I'm pretty sure. Well, I got it from the county. The county person came to my door.
Okay, that's a suit.
And then I felt dumb.
That was for real.
I was like,
look,
it's a real one.
Yeah, that's a real one.
These are the last 3 you've got left. They're suing you. Okay, you've paid off $60,000. This is great. How much money are you working with every month that you're putting into your snowball?
Well, that's why I called, because there's nothing. We've been reckless. We've been acting like we've been debt-free, kind of.
All right, let's do this. This is an important call, Lindsay, and there's millions of Americans going through this. I'm going to hold you over to the break. Stay on the line. I'm going to put you on hold. Stay on the line, and when we come back, we're going to bring you back, because I want to talk through this all the way through, because you aren't by yourself. Unfortunately, you're most of us. But we're going to use your case as a way to help everybody change their life. Hang on. We'll be right back.
Hey guys, being free to make your own medical decisions is a big deal these days. Christian Healthcare Ministries gives members the freedom to choose the doctors and providers they want without the frustration of worrying about networks and with no waiting period to join. It's a membership-based nonprofit ministry where hundreds of thousands of Christians share funds to pay for and pray for each other's medical bills. For over 40 years, CHM has helped families living across all 50 states. So see if CHM could be right for your family. Check out more today at chministries.org/budget.
All right, we are back. We're going out to Lindsay in Phoenix. So Lindsay was on in the previous segment before the break, and we held her over. So Lindsay is married. They have been paying off debts for years. They paid off $60,000, but by her own admission, they started screwing around, and they made a bunch of decisions that weren't the smartest ones in the world. Now they're getting sued. They got served by the county, sued by the credit card companies, by at least one, and probably a couple more are on the way. Lindsay, before the break, you said you and your husband have just kind of been messing around, just kind of making dumb decisions. Tell me more about that.
Do I have? I'm just kidding. Mostly, honestly, when I do my budgeting, we don't stick to our budget. That's our biggest thing, is we don't stick to the budget, and then fun things happen, or people invite us places and we say, sure. But then I look at the budget and I'm like, we really shouldn't do that. But then we don't stick to the budget. And we're like, that's fine.
I have a question. And I might be being a little hard on you.
No, well, go ahead. I'm used to it. I'm used to it.
I just am like, what is it going to take? You're getting sued. Like, what type of situation? I mean, clearly you already had lots of debt, so you felt the weight of that. You felt some of the freedom from getting out beneath that debt. The minute you kind of let your foot off the gas, you're over here. I think you said you had 3 debts left, and you're getting sued. Yeah. Why? I'm struggling to understand how that's not enough to make you go, oh, wake up call. Like, we need to just finish this out, and I'm trying to understand why there wasn't a behavior shift there.
I think, honestly, to be honest, I don't like to shift blame anywhere, right? Just to myself, because I can only control myself.
Sure.
But in my marriage, one person didn't agree with Dave Ramsey.
One person who shall remain nameless.
Nameless, right? And unidentified, right?
Okay.
He didn't agree with the whole Dave Ramsey mindset. He didn't agree with you need a credit score, you need a credit card.
Did you?
You need this. And I'm like, no. I was just like, no, you don't. You don't need any of that. You just need cash. Cash is like literally king. That's all you need.
So you're attributing this to you and your husband not being on the same page, basically.
Yes, I think that was the biggest thing that was the hardest, was we weren't on the same page because he just didn't see it. He didn't read it. He didn't experience it. Like he went to Financial Peace University and he was with the idea, but when it came to actually doing it, he wasn't with it, you know?
So John is going to talk to you about that. Let me give you just a quick takeaway from this being sued situation. You're going to get sued, and you may have to go to court if you can't get them to settle with you ahead of time. My guess is, because I know you've paid off $60,000 of debt, you probably have the money to clear the $4,000. One of the debts is $4,300. You can probably pay that this month. That money is laying around somewhere. I know it is. It's in your budget. You guys need to look at the budget and get that thing settled. Call them up, say, hey, we'll give you $2,000. We have it in cash. Settle it. Same thing with the one that's for $12,700. Settle it for pennies on the dollar, dimes on the dollar, and get free of that. How much is the third debt?
The third debt, I don't remember. I think it's around the $5,000 or $6,000 mark. They haven't sent us really any letters. They defaulted it. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so it's just in default.
Collection agency.
So there's 3 debts left. It's the debt snowball, smallest to largest. So we're going to do the $4,300 one because the other one is in judgment. We're going to go ahead and do that one and then clear out the $5,000 one. Okay. You guys have the money in the margin to do this, but, and John's going to talk to you about this. It's not a magic trick, right? You guys understand you have to put in the work. So if they make a judgment against you, it's literally just going to be yet another set of people telling you have to pay this, right? So we don't want it to get that far. It's already going to, your credit's destroyed, and that doesn't matter anyway, but you got to pay it.
Yeah.
So John.
Yeah.
I would kick myself if I didn't ask this, and I may be way out of line here. Are you safe?
Oh, yeah.
You're good?
Yes. Like, you mean like safe as an emotional? Like, am I being kept? Am I in a house? Like, is that what you're saying?
I just want to make sure you're all right.
Oh, no, I'm perfectly fine.
Okay.
Honestly.
So
I'm more than safe.
Here's the path forward. I don't want y'all to mention Dave Ramsey anymore, because Dave Ramsey's become it's become a third rail excuse, and it's easy for your husband to dismiss some old guy who's got glasses who lives in Nashville. It's easy to dismiss that guy, and it's easy for you to not be honest about what you need and what you want and the dreams you have, and just pin them all on this old guy in Nashville, Tennessee. And so I want you to stop using Dave Ramsey as an excuse, as a marker, as a way to coerce or manipulate or push your husband into getting you what you want. I want you to do the hard, scary, terrifying thing and be courageous and sit down and tell your husband, I'm so scared I can't breathe. I'm so scared that I can't live like this, knowing that at any moment, if you say the wrong dumb thing at work, you're fired and we are out of our house. that if I say the wrong thing at work and I get fired in this current world we live in, we lose both cars because we have nothing. Or we're about to get a judgment against us for X number of dollars plus lawyer fees plus whatever emotional damage the credit card company thinks they've endured. And what's it going to take, husband? Because right now you're acting a lot more like his mom than you are his wife.
Or even, maybe even a kid. Because do you want to know what my son does? My son will say, Mom, Zizi wants to watch a movie. Zizi wants to know if she can have ice cream. And that's my daughter. And so he pins it on her thinking he has a better chance of getting it.
He's being just a good, kind brother asking for his sister.
But what he really wants is he wants to watch TV or a movie. He wants ice cream. And I so agree with what John is saying. When you pin everything on, Dave Ramsey wants us to get on a budget.
That's right.
Dave Ramsey wants, and not feeling comfortable enough within your marriage to say, here's what I want to do. And here's what I believe is going to help. This
us.
is just, this is, and just being free and open to share.
Yeah. And sometimes people nag and complain and whine to their spouse about getting with the plan, and they don't get with the plan because either one of two things. The person's not on you're not fully on either. You say yes to stuff too, or you've had a bunch of schemes over the course of your relationship with this guy. And it's like, oh, I'm going to do this. Well, let's do this. Have you tried this? Let's try this. And Dave Ramsey is just yet another scheme in a long line of schemes.
So
that may not be you guys. You guys have clearly gone after it and done it and done it and done it and done it. But at some point, you have to have the courage to look at him and say, I'm tired of being scared in my own home. I'm tired of feeling unsafe. Will you be a part of building a new marriage where we are completely unified in this deal and we are safe together? And then you can have the peripheral discussion after that, which is, well, I feel safe with a credit card. Well, I don't feel safe with a credit card. Would you feel safe with 6 months in cash in the bank so we're our own credit card? Yes, I can buy that. Cool. That's in the plan. But you see how those steps become a part of how do you fulfill this new identity. It doesn't become the reason why you do everything. We got to do the baby steps. No, man, you got to get out of debt and keep your family safe.
Yeah.
Heal your marriage. The steps just help you get there.
Yeah.
You see the difference?
Yes.
Okay. I want you to hang on the line. I'm going to send you a couple of things. I'm going to send you Financial Peace University, the updated one, and it's going to be on me. And I'm going to send you Every Dollar, the best budgeting app in the world for a year, the premium one that links to your bank. And I'm going to send you a copy of Own Your Past, Change Your Future, my book on figuring out what do I do next. Okay? I want y'all to read that stuff, go through it, and change everything. We'll be right back. Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. Hey, you can now watch The Ramsey Show live on Twitter. Twitter.com/Ramsey Show. For you people who are wondering, how can I spend more time on Twitter? We got you.
What about the people who... Never mind.
I didn't know Twitter was twitter.com. Twitter.com/Ramsey Show. Get on it. It's a new way you can consume the show. So it's got YouTube's, podcasts, radio, Twitter, just some random guy on the street corner just yelling it out as loud as you can. Wherever.
Twitter is different from... This is not where I left it. Let me just put it like that. It's different.
Me and Twitter never dated. So
we're going to be on MySpace any day now.
We're hoping to plug it on MySpace here soon. Come back, MySpace.
No.
Tom, quit gardening or whatever you're doing, painting, and come back. All right, let's go to Pensacola and talk to the one and only Destiny. What's up, Destiny?
Hi.
How's it going?
Oh, well, how are y'all?
Oh, well, we're doing good, too. What's up? How can we help?
Okay, so my husband and I, we have 2 kids, 3 and 1, and I'm stay-at-home mom. He's a teacher, and we bought a house back in 2016, so we've got a mortgage that has like a 3% interest rate. The mortgage is only like $630, but we have a couple loans, some bad credit stuff, 1 car loan, and it's kind of at this, he's trying to do woodworking on the side, and I have a friend who does website building who's trying to get me a website so I can hopefully start a blog to make some money. But we're kind of at that, we barely make it to the next check because he only gets paid once a month. And so the option possibly is to move in with his grandmother, who's 83, and that's us moving in with her and selling our house, selling it. The equity we figure should get us to where we're done as far as debts. We pay off the car, pay off the loan that we took out to fix our roof. All the old stuff would be taken care of, and it would also leave us enough cash to pay for my husband to have a dependable truck because his is not dependable. But it's just, we're not sure if it's smart or not because she's talked about, because her mortgage is assumable, so she's talked about maybe passing it on, but she's kind of iffy on that.
So Jade,
we're just not sure.
Destiny, I'm going to jump in here. Jade, stop me at any moment. Destiny, I'll let Jade dig into the math, but I don't think this is the path, selling your house. Because you're still not addressing the core issue, and here's the core issue. And I'm coming from, my wife's been a lifelong teacher. I've been a teacher. I've been in education my whole life, my whole career. So is my wife. That's who we are. And with all due respect, y'all have reached a place where you can't afford to either have a stay-at-home wife with 2 kids just on a teacher's salary, or your husband's going to have to, either you're going to have to go get a job, or your husband's going to have to begin to look into different work because you simply have an income problem. Because you're going to get the roof fixed, you're going to pay all this debt off, and then the air conditioner's going to break at some point. And you still have a life with 0 margin in it. And I know that sounds caustic, but y'all have to think outside the, how do we just breathe right now? It's a feels like a very scarce poverty mindset. I just got to get to tomorrow. I'm going to do whatever decision I can do today to get me to tomorrow, even if it's cutting off my leg at the knee just so I can get to tomorrow. Well, now you can't run tomorrow. You can't walk tomorrow, right?
Right. Yeah, John, you're right on. You said something. You said, we're barely making it to the end of the month because my husband only gets paid once a month. That's not why. It's not because he only gets paid once a month. He could get paid twice a month or, whatever. It's just there's not enough money that he's being paid and that you're being paid. And so John's right. It sounds like an income issue because here's the thing. Like you said, the mortgage is 3%. It's $630 per month. You ain't going to find that again. Like no. That, it doesn't get any cheaper than that.
You can't rent that cheap.
Yeah.
You can't, yeah.
So getting rid of that is not the issue. Matter of fact, hold on to that because it doesn't get any cheaper than that. I 100% agree with John. I'm a mom. I had some 4 years where I worked from home in order, to be at home with my kids. And I loved that and did a lot of work to be able to do that. I hate telling moms that they can't stay at home with their kids, because that's the dream, right? But you also have to be able to afford it. It's one of those things. There's so many things that we want in life, but at the end of the day, there's a cost to it. I always say the best things in life are free, but the next best things are going to cost you, right? And it's true, if you having the love of your family and all those warm, fuzzy things, that part's free. But if you want to be able to stay at home, if you want to be driving the car, if you want to be doing all those other things that goes along with it, that's the part that's going to cost you. And it's not always, it's in dollars, but a lot of times it's also in sacrifice. And so you might be able to get to the point that you can be a stay-at-home mom. But as it sits here, it really does sound like with the amount of debt you have and with the amount of money that's coming in, it's not possible, because your husband could probably get another job. But what kind of quality of life is that for him to have two jobs, and burning the candle at both ends on that? And then you've got the job of staying home as a mom, but it's not bringing in money.
So how does that sound, Destiny? I know that's hard to hear.
I hate saying that.
It is very hard because it hurts a lot.
Yeah.
Because that's what I've been trying. I've looked online trying to find anything remote, anything that I could do from home, so I could at least, because that's the other issue is we've talked about me going to work, but childcare is so expensive here.
Yeah.
And so we looked at it. It was literally, if I took like just a kind of like a retail job or something, by the time that we pay childcare and everything comes out, we'd have like $200 for me to work.
How old are the kids?
And 1 and 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you've got it for a while.
What is what's a teacher make in Pensacola?
$47,500.
Holy dude. Just for people who get elected into office, who choose how to spend my tax dollars, for God's sakes, pay teachers and police officers and firemen more.
Okay.
Please, just stop. This is insane. So here's the gross part, man. He's probably going to have to get another job as a sprint to pay this debt off.
Yes, but there is work from home. I know she can find.
Yes.
I know you
got to keep plugging along.
You got to keep plugging along and finding it, because it's out there and it's a lot of it. And if it's not that, it's you creating something. I don't want you to go, well, I tried a couple of things and stop knocking on doors, because let me just tell you, it is out there and you will find it. You've just got to keep committing to that.
I would not hang on creating a blog that pays.
Sure. Oh yeah.
I wouldn't hang on to that as the key. There is definitely work from home.
Yes.
But I don't want you sitting around applying for a couple of jobs. It's not happening. You're frustrated. Your husband, like, I'm a teacher, that's all I am. And I get that mindset. I get it. But man, you make $47,500 and your family's struggling. And I don't want y'all to both go, well, I guess that's the next option is to sell this incredible situation we've got.
Don't.
And move in with our grandmother, who may or may not deed us over a house we may or may not be able to afford. He may need to have a hard conversation about, is this the career for me for a while? Or I need to go sell things. I need to get out there and figure out another way to do life. And you need to keep applying.
Yeah, you'll get something.
It's not fun.
It's not fun, but you're smart. I can tell you're intelligent. You have so much to offer. So keep applying. You will find something.
This is The Ramsey Show. Today's scripture of the day is Psalms 19:1. The heavens declare the glory of God. The skies proclaim the work of his hands. Robert Fitzgerald Diggs, a.k.a. RZA, says, inspiration is found everywhere if you look hard enough. Way to go, guys. Way to go, guys. That's from a calendar in Austin's bathroom at his house.
John, you're on 10 today.
Inspiration is found everywhere if you look hard enough. There it is. Let's go out to Steve in H-Town. What's up, Steve? How we doing?
Hey, how are you? Thanks for taking time.
Absolutely, man. What's up?
So got a question I've been thinking about. So I have a good job, a stable career. My debts, I have 3 debts that total about $480,000. But they're low interest. I've got a home that's about $150,000. That's at 3%. Then I have a vacation home that's like 2 and 1.25%. Then I got a car note that's like 1.75 with $30K. So I'm trying to decide, these are, and then I invest. I save like $250 every week that goes into a mutual fund. I do my retirement, which is about $1,500 a week that I put into to maximize my retirement, and I have about $200K in savings, and then about $250 in mutual funds, and then a good retirement account. So I didn't know if I should continue investing in mutual funds or should I pay off these debts one by one, even though they're so low. So that's kind of what I struggle, and I have my reserve. So
what's reserve mean?
Well, I have like $200,000 in savings account. I mean, just for emergency.
Okay.
You're awesome, Steve.
Yeah, you are awesome. Great job. Great job on the retirement. Great job on the savings. Something I noticed that I kind of thought was funny. I just got to say it. It was interesting to me that when you talked about your debt, you really only talked about the interest rate, or you highlighted that it was low because the interest rate. Oh, it's only 1%, 3%. But then when you talked about your retirement, you didn't talk about those by the interest rate. You talked about them by the actual amount. And so that lets me know that actual amounts do matter. So if if retirement's $250,000, then the rental for $200,000 is also. Do you see what I'm saying? Like the weight matters on both sides.
So how much you owe on your house? $150,000.
So I have my primary residence. I owe $150,000.
What do you owe on the vacation home?
Vacation home, I owe $300,000.
What do you owe on your car?
$30,000.
So here's a good thing. I don't know if you're going to do this or not, but what I would suggest, I like a debt-free lifestyle. I'm just saying. I like the freedom that it gives. I like the peace that it gives. You have the money that if you wanted to, you could probably, and probably the cash flow as well, that you could probably clear out your car and this rental in no time if you wanted to. If you wanted to, or you could pay off your mortgage. You've got the money laying around that you could do a lot here. Maybe you could sell the rental, pay off your mortgage, keep some of the savings and pay off your car. Like you've got several options here. The question is, what's most important to you?
I think what's most important is reserve because, I'm a dad. I'm 51. I mean, I don't have any major health issues, but, I just want to be the guy that in case something happens, I've always got the reserve tank ready to go.
So here, let me, I'm with you. I grew up in Houston. I'm I'm a lot conservative on the risk profile. Okay. I want to make sure I'm squared up, and especially when it comes to my wife and my kids. Fair? Same team on that one?
Yes.
I cannot.
And I'm not married, but
okay.
But I make sure my kids are. I put $500 a month into their retirement. $529.
$529. That's right. Let me say the greatest gift you can give your kids at this point is that dad is stable. I can't think of. We did that study of 10,000 millionaires. None of them were foregoing paying off their house and trying to gap the market. There's something about having a home that nobody can ever take away from you, ever. And so come what may, you will have a home that those kids can come home to because it's mine. I own it, despite how high Texas keeps jacking up y'all's property taxes. And so if I'm you, the best I can give you here, because here's the deal. I I can't argue with you on the math. If you've made X% return against the percentage points, if you're playing that game, you and I are talking, you're talking Spanish and I'm talking Italian. We're talking different languages. The language I want to talk is a long-term peace in my home, to where it is a place of warmth and safety for me to put my head down. I call it my head tax. My sleep tax, my head and sleep tax, I pay that 6%. I have no problem paying that 6% between having no debt and having a 2.5% interest rate on some vacation home versus the 9% I made in the market, or the 8%, or the 20% some people lost last year. Right? So I don't even care about it because I'm playing a different game. The second thing is, bro, if I'm you right now, before the day was over, I'd go down to the bank and I would wire my mortgage, and I would have a paid for home that nobody can ever take from me ever again. And I would pay my car off so that no one could ever take it from me. And I'd have $20,000 in the bank, and I would strongly consider selling this vacation play home. And I would save up and buy something in cash.
How much do you earn every month?
About $58,000. That's gross, so net, minus 30% in taxes, or 28%. So my gross is about $58,000 a month.
Yeah.
$58,000 or $5,800?
$58,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
He makes a lot of money.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
You're doing great, man.
You could probably hang on to the rental, but just say, I'm going to pay it off.
Pay it off in 6 months.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. You've got so many options here. And what John laid out is exactly right. And we're trying to lay it out in a way, you're not giving up anything. That's what I want you to hear here. You're not giving up your security. You're increasing it by paying off your mortgage, paying off your car, committing to take a couple of months here, a year, pay off the rental. And, as long as you always have about 3 to 6 months of savings, you're good. You're the type of guy who wants more than that, and that's fine, but let's just put it in the right area of priority. At the end of this plan, you're going to have everything that you have right now. It's just going to be paid off and more secure.
And let me do it a simple way, because you're a smart guy, and we'll just do the math backwards. Would you ever take out a HELOC on your home to invest that money in a mutual fund?
Possibly.
This guy might do it. Guy might do it.
Don't ever put your house on the block. Good God, man. You're so close. Here's the thing. You make a ton of money, and it may, for whatever reason, the idea of risk keeps you up at night. The idea of not being able to provide has buried itself in your soul. And for whatever reason, it could be historical stuff, it could be childhood stuff. Who knows why that's there? But the reality is it's there. And so Dave has taught me personally, as my life has shifted and changed as I've worked here, that I'm going to lean on ratios, and that's what's going to get me through the day. I'm not going to owe anybody anything ever. And then when I make this much X, I'm going to put 15% of that away. When I make this much X, I'm going to buy this rental home. When I make this much X, I'm going to put this in a fund for my kids so they go to school. Within 5 months, you could have both of your kids funded through most of med school, right? So it's just a matter of saying, I've ticked it off, I've ticked it off, I've ticked it off, and we are good to go. But man, I would start with, I don't owe anybody anything, and let that sit into your soul for a bit and try sleeping on that one. My promise is you're going to sleep a little bit deeper, and your home's going to be a little bit warmer to come home to. Hey, that's it for today's show. Jade, it's always a pleasure. Guys in the booth, and even Austin, thank y'all so much. Thank you, America. We'll be right back on The Ramsey Show. Hey, it's Dr. John Deloney. If you like what you heard in this episode and want to know more about getting started on the Ramsey baby steps, go to RamseySolutions.com and click on the Get Started button. We'll help you figure out the best next step for you based on your specific situation. That's RamseySolutions.com and click Get Started.